thank you for joining us today on Focus on Natural Health Education. I'm sitting in for Deborah Gant, but before I tell you more about myself, I want to ask you two questions. Especially if you are struggling with a chronic lifestyle-related illness such as diabetes or hypertension, maybe you're overweight, and that may be the cause of some of your problems. What would your life look like if you had a consistent lifestyle plan that would help you reach your ideal weight? Then you could get into those clothes that you've been trying to wear. You're able to move around without being so short of breath. Maybe your arthritis is under control because you have a lifestyle plan that will help you and you don't have to take so many medications. What would your life look like? How would it be different if you were able to reduce the number of medications that you take? Perhaps you're on a lot of medications. I don't know. There are many people who are. The second question, if you had access to such a plan and someone to help you implement it, would you say yes and take advantage of the opportunity? I'm Dr. Karla Montague Brown, and I practiced primary medical care for many years, almost 20 years, as a family medicine physician, and I've cared for many patients who had some of the illnesses that I just shared with you: hypertension, diabetes, arthritis. They were overweight, and they were tired. A lot of them were on a lot of medications, and the more and more I wrote medications, the worse I would feel, because sometimes I felt like I wasn't really helping them. Now, I know I was helping them, and I know there are a lot of people who were not going to do a lot of the lifestyle changes that I felt that would help them. So there's still a need for medications, because a lot of times people won't do the preventive measures, or they find it too difficult to make some lifestyle changes. But there are people who are tired of being overweight, tired of their blood pressure being sky high and they're having to take more and more medication, or maybe their diabetes is out of control. Maybe they've started to develop, and maybe you have started to develop some of the complications that go along with those illnesses, and you're tired. I've seen it. People have come to me and say, "Doc, I'm tired. I'm tired of taking these medications. I'm overwhelmed, and I feel hopeless. I feel like giving up." Well, that was difficult. That's difficult for me to hear that, but I know that there's something that can be done about it. And so what the Lord has allowed me to do, I've developed a business, and actually it's a ministry, and I've entitled it, the business name is Crown to Soul Wellness. And what we do at Crown to Soul Wellness, we help people, help individuals, and especially women. Now the plan will help anybody. The things that I will share with you can help anybody, but one of my passions is really helping women. And I guess because I'm a woman, and the older I get, the challenges that I face, I'm able to interact with other women who, like me, need some help. And so what we do is to help women and help individuals to implement a practical lifestyle plan so that they can reverse some of their lifestyle related illnesses, such as obesity, hypertension, diabetes, and reduce the need for the medications. They may not be able to eliminate them totally, and sometimes they may be able to eliminate their medications. And then we help them to pursue holistic wellness. We do this in various ways. I also provide speaking services, seminars, workshops for organizations such as churches, women's health groups, workplace health groups. I've spoken at women's ministries seminars and retreats. So there are different ways that we can help people to implement a lifestyle plan that will help them pursue holistic wellness. I'm really excited to be here today, especially because we focus in this show on natural health education. That's what I do. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to share with Deborah's audience how we can pursue holistic wellness. Now, the name Crown to Soul Wellness is not an accident. I chose that. I teach little kids a lot of times too, and I found that repetition helps us to remember, helps us to understand. And so Crown to Soul Wellness, when we break that down, and go through the different steps of our plan, it will help you to remember the different areas in your life that you can implement in order for you to have a holistic and well-rounded lifestyle plan so that you can pursue holistic wellness. So what we'll learn today are those steps. There are 11 areas, and if you count the letters in crown to soul, there are 11 letters, and these are 11 ways or 11 areas that we can implement in order to receive a holistic and well-rounded lifestyle plan. Also, I'm going to offer you a free gift. I like to give prizes, and I like to receive stuff too. So before we close, or as I end, and I have a way to let you know how to get this free gift, and you're going to be so excited about it. I'm so excited because the Lord helped me to put together an action plan, and I'm going to give it to you for free. It's I could probably charge money for it, but I'm not. I want to give this for free. So even if you miss some things during this broadcast, I'm going to share some things from that action plan. If you miss some things, don't worry. You have a way to get it and get this free gift, especially for you. So we're going to learn these action steps, and I want to share you a little bit about my journey, what prompted me to really start pursuing holistic wellness for myself. I mentioned to you before that I am a family practice physician, and I practiced in the primary care area for almost 20 years. And for the past 7 years, I've been a medical consultant for Social Security disability. And I review claims, and over again, a lot of the reasons that people are disabled is because of these lifestyle-related illnesses. So one of the issues that we deal with here in the United States especially, we are faced with, because of the obesity epidemic, we have so many people who are suffering from hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, coronary artery disease, and cancer. And I mentioned those. There are so many other illnesses, but I mentioned those because those are some of the top illnesses, and many of them, many times we can reverse or reduce the effects of these illnesses just by some basic lifestyle changes and by the way we live our lives. And so that's a passion of mine, and wanting to really be able to practically share how we can implement these steps. When I was a young physician just starting out, and I would tell people, oh, you need to eat better, or you need to do this, and they would say, okay, doc. And after a while I realized that I wasn't really telling them anything. That didn't mean anything to them. They didn't know what that meant, to eat better. So they might think eat better means eat more. Oh, I need to eat. Okay, she said I need to eat better, but what really does that mean? And they didn't really ask, well, what do you mean? And I was young then. I'm a little older now and a little more mature. It took me a while to realize, wow, I'm giving them the right advice, but I'm not really telling them how to do this, how to make these changes. And as I started to make changes for myself, it helped me to understand how I can practically share with someone, how do you develop a lifestyle, or develop lifestyle behaviors that will be helpful and not harm. There's so much information out there, so my goal is to give trustworthy information that will uplift you and motivate you, not beat you over the head and say, you better stop doing this or don't do that. That may help for a little bit, but most of the time people just get offended. It's like, who are you to tell me what I need to do and what I should do or shouldn't do? So what I want to do is just share some steps that we can practically implement so that we can pursue holistic wellness. And I think you'll be excited to learn these things, because these are some things that are really simple and you can put them into place. So we're going to take a break right now, and then we'll be back, okay? Hello again, and welcome back to Focus on Natural Health Education. Again, I'm sitting in for Deborah Gant today. I'm Dr. Karla Montague Brown with Crown to Soul Wellness. Before the break, I told you that we would share with you 11 steps or 11 areas that you can implement into your lifestyle in order for you to pursue holistic wellness. And hopefully that will help you to reverse some of these lifestyle-related illnesses that you may be suffering from. If you are obese, you may have hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, coronary artery disease. You may even have been affected by cancer, or maybe someone else in your family or loved one is affected by some of these illnesses. So let's jump right in and start with step 1, control. Our C stands for control of self. What in the world does that mean? Control of self means being temperate or being imbalanced. Sometimes we are doing too much of something or too little of something. We eat too much, we work too much, we sleep all the time, or we're not getting enough sleep. Control of self means to control the choices that we make. And one of the fruit of the Spirit, part of the fruit of the Spirit includes self-control. So that first step or that first C is control of self. Let's be wise about the choices that we make and realize that you are in control of your life. You are the ones to make the choices of what you do. And I want to share with you real quickly a story about my son. I have he's 16 now. He just turned 16. When he was in kindergarten, his teacher had their theme was Candyland. And my son was pretty rambunctious, good kid and fun, but he was just all over the place, a lot of energy. And she was so positive. She didn't really do a lot of negative talk, but if they got out of line, she would just take things, or they just weren't able to participate in some of the activities. So if they did well and made good choices all week, on Friday they would get to participate in Sweet Friday. Well, week after week, my son he'd make it one day, maybe 2 days, but it took him a while and he just wasn't making it to Sweet Friday. So one day he finally told me, he said, "Mommy, I try to make good choices, but sometimes I mess up." And I couldn't do anything but smile and say, "Baby, Mommy understands. We're just going to have to keep trying and ask God to help us to make good choices." And so I want to share that with you. I know we try to make good choices, and sometimes you mess up. Sometimes you know you shouldn't eat that piece of cake or whatever it is, but it looks good, and sometimes we just make the choice that maybe we shouldn't make. So control of self is our first letter, that's C. The next letter, R, stands for rest. And I said before, sometimes we are out of control and we either sleeping too much or not getting enough rest. Some of us are just overworked. We're working at church, we're working at work, we're working with our family, we're doing this project and that project, and we're just never resting. We won't let our minds rest or our bodies rest. But each day we need to make sure that we get a certain amount of sleep. And so my recommendation is for you to get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep. And it's best if we try to get into the bed between 9 and 11 o'clock. Now, I know that's hard for some of us. By the time we get off work, help kids with homework, get dinner ready, or whatever it is that we have to do. And maybe we want to watch TV, or I don't know, whatever it is you like to do. But we're staying up all hours of the night, and we're not getting enough rest. And when we rest that our body is able to repair itself. So it's very important that we get rest on a regular basis, and then also even on a weekly basis. God has designed for us to have a weekly rest, what we call Sabbath rest, a time where we can come away from all the hustle and bustle of everyday life and just focus on our Creator who has made us. We are made in the image of God, and He knows what's best for us. Our next letter is O. Now we have 3 O's. Our first O stands for outdoors air. Outdoors air. It's so important for us to get fresh air each day. You know, you can live for a little while without water. You can live for a little while without food. But if you had no air, if you didn't get the proper oxygen that you needed, we could only last maybe a few minutes. So it's very important that we get outside sometimes, especially if you're working inside. The windows may be closed most of the time. and we're just breathing in stale air. Let's get outside. Open the windows sometimes, and in the morning you may want to get out and get some fresh air. So that's very important. Our next letter is W, and I brought a little thing to help me. This is what I call the beverage of royalty. This is probably the best beverage that you can have. Now, I know there are a lot of things that people can drink, and I would ask my patients sometimes, how much water do you drink? That was part of my history taking. And many people don't drink any water at all. Most of the time, a lot of times they would say, well, I'm drinking tea, they're drinking coffee, sodas, beer, Kool-Aid, everything but water, and think, well, if this got water in it. But your body still has to break all that other stuff down, which water, it doesn't have to break it down. And we have to drink water in order to replace the water that we lose on a daily basis. We lose water with our sweat, through our saliva, as we eliminate with our urination. So we have to replace that because our body is made up of so much water. And if we don't replace that, we become dehydrated. Our joints aren't lubricated, and we need water for every organ in our body. So let's remember to get water, and my recommendation is for us to drink maybe 3 of these a day, 3 to 4 of these, and this is a 16-ounce bottle of water. So the way I do it, I'll get up in the morning and drink 1 of these. I'll take 1 to work, maybe drink 2 of them at work, and I've gotten at least 3 bottles by the time I come home, usually. And then if I get another one in, that's great too. So it's pretty easy to do it once you start thinking of like, I gotta drink water, and don't just, if I see a water fountain, I'll drink some water. Make it a habit, make an intention to do that. Your body will thank you for it. The next letter is N, and this is a huge one. N is for nutrition. There's so much stuff that you can eat, and a lot of it is not good for you. A lot of it doesn't build you up. It breaks you down. But our food is where we get our energy source for us to function. And so if we're not eating foods that are wholesome for us, we just end up destroying our body. So we may be eating stuff, and a lot of times we're eating foods that are just causing us to gain weight, but it's not giving us the energy that we need, and we're eating foods that may be clogging our arteries. So my recommendation is for us to eat a wholesome diet, and my recommendation is a plant-based diet. Fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, beans, these are all foods that are good for us, and the more of those that we incorporate into our diet, especially our green leafy vegetables, just color your plate. And I don't mean Skittles, they say. I'm not talking about Skittles, and they are colorful.
Or M&M's.
Or M&M's, someone said. M&M's, but let's make sure that we're getting a well-balanced diet of wholesome foods, especially our plant-based foods, and let's do that on a regular basis. And we're going to take a break. So we've completed our crown, so we'll come back and share with you the rest of the steps. Thank you, and we'll see you soon. Again, welcome back to Focus on Natural Health Education. I'm sitting in today for Deborah Gant. I'm Dr. Karla Montague Brown with Crown to Soul Wellness. We've just completed the crown in our 11 steps, so we're going to finish up with our last 6 letters, T-O-S-O-L-E. And our T is right in the middle, and if you can think of the letter T, our T stands for trust in God. Trust in God, and if we trust in God, that will empower us to do all of the other steps and everything else that He has asked us to do for His glory. So let's trust in God by praying, by reading our scriptures, by surrounding ourselves with others who trust in God that can encourage us along our journey. As we trust in God, that leads us to our next letter O. Remember I said there are 3 O's, and our second letter O stands for optimism, or having an optimistic outlook. In the Bible it says, a merry heart does good like a medicine. It's been known that if we have negative thoughts, negative emotions, that causes us to be depressed. But as we think positive thoughts, that helps to elevate our mood. So that second O is for optimism, or an optimistic outlook. The letter S is for sunlight. It's important for us to have sunlight each day. It helps us manufacture our vitamin D. It helps to elevate our mood. So as we try to have an optimistic outlook, you may have noticed that in the winter times, a lot of times, if it's dreary outside, or if it's dark and cold and overcast, kind of depresses our mood some. But as it starts to get springtime and summertime, our mood is elevated. So let's get out in the sun at least 15 to 20 minutes a day. Open your blinds and so let some sunlight flow through your house. Our third O stands for others. How in the world does this help us with a holistic wellness plan? Well, let me tell you. As we share with others, it helps us to come out of ourselves, and as we involve ourselves with others, that helps us to have a holistic and a well-balanced life. Another way that we can think of others is allowing others to help us. We are not alone. We don't have to stand alone, and sometimes we need help. Even in implementing a plan, you may need an accountability partner or someone to help you. Don't be afraid to ask others for help. Our next letter is L, and that stands for love. If we have a loving attitude, love for our God, love for ourselves, love for our fellow man, that will help us to have a holistic attitude and holistic wellness. And that will help us as part of our plan if we love and not hate. Our last letter is for exercise. And it's so important that we each day try to get enough exercise, aerobic activity. And I brought my tennis shoe today. This is where I walk. There are so many different ways that people can exercise, but walking is probably the simplest form of exercise, and it doesn't really require a whole lot. Put on some decent walking shoes. You can just walk around outside. You don't have to join a gym to walk. I walk in my neighborhood, walk outside, and that way I'm able to get fresh air. I'm able to, as I'm walking, I'm communing with God. I may be praying. I'm out in the sunlight. So we kind of kill a whole lot of birds with one stone, as they say, as we get out and exercise. Before I get out, I'll drink some water. When I come back, I'll drink some water. So those are our 11 steps, and hopefully you will be able to implement these. There are different action steps that you can take, and everybody may not be doing the same thing, but these are the basic principles that will help you to achieve a holistic wellness plan and help you to reduce some of those medications that you may be taking. As you implement this plan, you'll start to see some weight come off if you're overweight. One client that I had, I spoke at a women's health, actually it was a women's conference, and I did a health talk, and we just shared about water at this particular conference. I was talking about water, and she came up to me afterwards and she said, I'm just tired. She said, I've been overweight most of my life. I'm on all these medications. She has hypertension, diabetes, arthritis. And she said, I just feel hopeless. She said, my son is in college now. She said, I'll probably be retiring soon. And she said, I don't want to just be sick when I retire. I want to be able to enjoy life. And it just grabbed my heart, because I was like, man, there's so much that we can do to actually help you with this. I said, if you're serious, let's get to work on it. And we started on a plan with her probably the next day, in a few days. And she was so excited. She emailed me and said, I've lost about 10 pounds. And we hadn't even really started real full-fledged with her plan. We just made a few simple changes. We got her moving a little more, and she was having trouble moving because of her obesity and her arthritis. She couldn't even really walk a lot, and so she just started doing some chair exercises. But she started drinking water. And so we just started there. I said, let's just start there first, and then let me see what you're eating. And so we started there, And it was just a blessing to see how excited she was. But as we start making these changes, we will see a difference. And I want to just leave you with this, and this is included in my action plan, but it's a quote from the book Counsels on Health, and the author's name is Ellen White, and it says, "When we do all we can on our part to have health, then we may expect that the blessed results will follow, and we can ask God in faith to bless our efforts for the preservation of health." So there's some things that we have to do. We can ask God for healing and ask God for good health, but if we continue to do all these things that are damaging our health, we kind of tie God's hands a little bit. But as we ask Him for the power and the strength to make wise choices and to implement some steps, some natural laws that will help us to achieve health, He will bless our efforts, and we will be empowered to help others. We will be empowered to live the lives that God would have us to live and to fulfill our purpose. Now, I told you that I have a free gift for you, and I'm going to tell you how you can get this gift and how you can contact me. My website is crowntosoulwellness.com. Now, that soul is S-O-L-E. We just went through the steps, so you should be able to remember crowntosoulwellness.com. CROWNTOSOLE wellness, WELLNESS.com. crowntosoulwellness.com. And as you go to that website, you will see click on the link for free gift, or even if you just look at some of the blog posts, at the end of each blog post, you'll see the way that you can access this gift. I made it real easy for you. So at the end of each blog post, at my welcome site, or you can click on the link that says free gift, and you will get my free Crown to Soul Wellness Action Guide. And it outlines the 11 steps that we just talked about, but it includes some action steps that you can take. So it goes into a little more detail than what we've shared with you today, and you can access this. And if you want to go even a little further, a little deeper, if you want to hire me to come and speak at your event, I would love to do that. My phone number is area code 615-541-2320. Again, that number is area code 615-541-2320, or you can just access me on the website, and that's crowntosoulwellness.com. It has been a pleasure speaking with you today and filling in for Deborah Gant. Maybe she'll have me again sometimes. I would love to be back. And remember, you're watching Focus on Natural Health Education. Thank you so much for your attention.